Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new, thank you very much for joining, and if you are all subscriber, thank you very much for returning. Today's video is going to be very short and detailed. I just want to cover about a visa, like I promised in my very first video that I will be sharing about visas that I come across here and there, and today I've decided to share about a visa. I've been meaning to share it sometimes back, but I was just not sure about it. I first wanted to gain info here and there and see how urgently they need this, but looking at it, it seems like they really urgently need aged care assistance, because every time I go on my social media, it will always, they would always pop up on my feed, these adverts from agents and whatnot. It would always pop up on my feed, so I decided to maybe just share the info, maybe to benefit one or two people out there. So on that same, sorry, I'll be looking down because I'm actually looking from my phone. So on that say, I will be sharing about visa 482, which is a aged care visa. Disclaimer, I am not an agent. I am just somebody giving info out there, and it's of you to consult a registered agent if you feel you need one. Otherwise, I think this is a process you can do it on your own if you feel like you don't need an agent, but consult an agent if you need one. I am not an agent, unfortunately. So on that say, they talk about the aged care visa, where they say it's an aged care visa. It allows individuals to come to Australia to provide care to their elderly relatives to the elderly relatives who require support for long-term or permanent medical conditions. So basically, you are coming to take care of the old people. To be honest, this is one of the people use as a stepping stone to go out there and look for opportunities and all that. So I would recommend that look at it and just think about it. So anyways, they say that who are the eligible candidates. So they talk about nurses, support workers. So this is mainly just nurses, personal assistants, care assistants, or personal care assistants. So I think these are people that have been working hand in hand with nurses. If you are maybe a nurse's assistant, or you are a patient assistant, I think there are some people that just work in the hospital without any qualification, but you have been working hand in hand with the nurses, if that makes sense. I think people in the health space will probably know what I'm talking about. They are also eligible for that. And then we have the age or disabled carer. So if you are age or disabled carer, you also qualify for this. The requirement, let me just talk about the benefits first. So the benefits, they talk about a 2-year pathway to permanent residence through the employer's nomination scheme. So that means after 2 years, you automatically qualify to apply for permanent residence. Now, the benefits of permanent residence, guys, they are so good. I think just to point out some, you can study, you can bring your family over. There are a lot of benefits that comes along with the permanent residence, and that's just after 2 good years. Once you have worked for 2 years, does not matter how you work, whether it's part-time, full-time, or whatsoever, as long as you have worked for 2 years, your hours makes up for 2 years, you then automatically qualifies to apply for a permanent residence. And then they talk about the benefits, streamline visa nomination, and priority visa application process. So this is just to say that your visa becomes a priority, or your application, your visa application is a priority to them. So they are actually prioritizing in this space. So in the 482 visa, the other one is no post qualification work experience required. So if you are a pure graduate, you do not need any qualification. Not qualification. You do not need any experience. So you can be a graduate from varsity straight, and you also qualify for this, which is actually an advantage. A lot of work would actually require experience, and a lot of visas would require experience, but in this one, you do not need any experience. And then English language, this is just the English language. They talk about an annual salary of 51,222 Australian dollars. But now remember, this is just the basic salary. You will definitely get more than this because you are working on shifts. So you get different rates depending on the days that you are working. Sometimes you get a different rate of after hours or weekends or public holidays. They all come with different rates. So definitely I'm sure you get more than this, because 51,222, this is just the basics. So you are more likely to get more than just the 52,000. And now there we go to the requirements. So the requirements, they said you should hold a relevant AQF certificates or equivalent or higher qualification. So meaning if you have a certificate, a diploma or degree, you automatically qualifies. So I think, for instance, nurses that have graduated from youth center, nurses that have graduated from Velvicia, nurses that have graduated from these health institutions, you can also, I think you are also eligible for this. You could probably just apply and see where you end up. And then they talk about, you can also have 12 months relevant experience. So meaning, even if you don't have a qualification and you have 12 months experience, you then also qualify for this. You can apply. So 12 months experience, if you have just been working maybe in the hospitals, you have been working with patients, you have been working with nurses, you qualify for this with your 12 months experience. You don't need any qualification as long as you have 12 months relevant experience, if that makes sense. And then they go ahead and say, have an English language proficiency level at least of IELTS of 5.0 or equivalent, or 4.5. So meaning your English capacity or your English proficiency, I can't pronounce that, but anyways, it should only be 5.0 or 4.5. That's just the average, right? If you look back in our video on how we got our visa, we had to aim for the maximum, and the maximum was 9.5 or actually even 10. And with this ones, they are just asking for the average. Guys, to be honest, to get an average in this test, it's not hard at all. It's very, very, very easy. So you can actually get this average without even having to study. It's very easy to get this average. And then they went on to talk about for you to obtain all this, you must first have to submit your, let me just read how it says. Obtain a positive skills assessment from the Australian Nursing and Midwifery Accreditation Council or Australian Community Workers Association if you obtain your qualifications from overseas. So now in this instance, I'm talking with people from overseas. So that means you have to submit your documents or your qualifications through the Australian Community Workers Association. I will insert their link in the description. I think there is a fee. I'm just not so sure how much. It's about 400 or 500 Australian dollars, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not so sure. But I think there's a fee involved. I will insert the links in the description, and then you can just go through and see how much exactly is required of you to submit your documents. So I think this is mostly just, not I think, I know, this is just a accreditations process, as in to just make sure that your documents are legit and they are really valid. And they also now issue with you with the accreditation certificate to say yes, you can start job hunting and all that. So once you have all this, then that's when you can start applying for the jobs and all that. And or otherwise, you can then start applying for, once you have the accreditation from this unions or councils, you can then start applying for the jobs and vacancies. And I can guarantee you these positions are all over, like it's everywhere. They really, really need aged care assistants. So on that say, I really don't want to make a long video and speak of unnecessary things. Those are the only most important things I feel I needed to cover on this, but I will share the links in my description and you can just go on and read about it. And yeah, otherwise, thank you very much for listening. If you have any question, you can just drop it in the comment box and I'll try to respond to each and every question. In that instance, on that say, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, thank you.